This episode of Not Another Gaming Podcast is brought to you by Thrive Fantasy, the best place for daily fantasy sports and esports. Just pick a game that you want some action on and build your lineup from the available player props. Each prop is assigned a point value for both the over and the under based on how likely it is to hit. Hit the most props, rack up the most points, and win a share of the prize pool. It is that simple. Thrive has paid out over $1.5 million in cash prizes to date. So to start raking in the dough, sign up using promo code WGG and you will receive an instant match on your first deposit on up to $50. So get started today. Use promo code WGG on the Thrive Fantasy app on the App Store or the Google Play Store, or by visiting their website at thrivefantasy.com. Once again, that promo code is WGG, so go download the app and prop up with us today. Now, without further ado, enjoy episode 222 of Not Another Gaming Podcast. Yo, welcome back to Not Another Gaming Podcast. It is your boy, Papa Dom, and we are live once again in the place to be on the internet's number one podcast. Not even the number one gaming podcast, the number one podcast. I'm sick of selling ourselves short. We're the number one fucking podcast in the game. And the chat is already live, popping off right now, so I am not even going to waste any time at all. Not a single solitary second. I'm going to just get right into it. And I'm going to save the best for last. I'm going to save the guest for last. And I am going to introduce my two beautiful co-hosts, whom without I could not do this show. We could not be putting on the number one gaming podcast, the number one podcast on Al Gore's internet, without these two guys here. My first co-host, when he's not crushing a couple cold daddies or delivering haymakers to his desk, he's beating your favorite journalist to the punch on all the breaking esports and gaming news that you care about and some that you don't. The Future Esports Awards 2021 reporting Rookie of the Year and living proof that they do, as a matter of fact, stack handsome that high. My friend and yours, Chris P. How the fuck are we feeling?
You know, Dom, I'm doing phenomenal. You know you're having a good day when, like, I contemplated cracking a... So I guess it could go either way, right? Like a good or a bad day. But it was like noon today. I was like, you know what? Sounds really good. Like a dozen beers. Like I wanted to crack a drink.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't do it. You know, I refrained a little bit till like 5 because, you know, the song, 5 o'clock somewhere. So I'm enjoying myself. I'm really happy to be here. Episode 222, the Deuce, Deuce, Deuce episode. Just happy to be here. Happy to be with my friends. It's your boy, Chris P., the tallest and the lankiest.
And of course, my next co-host, you might find him clawing his way out of his gaming backlog several days a week here on twitch.tv/wickedgoodgaming, or you might catch him decline benching a pair of Chrysler Windstars in between CSGO matches, a guy who absolutely, positively, no way, shape, or form has ever watched any anime before in his life. The clairvoyant, the effervescent, the beautiful Dr. Bob. What it do, baby?
It's true. I'm glad we're keeping this this weekly trend of putting it out there first and foremost for everybody listening. Never watched anime once in my life. And if just so happened I was in the same room as someone who was watching anime, I made a scene immediately. And I said, hey, I want nothing to do with this. And then my girlfriend started yelling at me and she said, sit down, idiot. And I said, okay, but I'm closing my eyes. So I've never watched anime once.
Huh, I like it.
But yeah, I'm doing okay. You know, it's been a weird, long fucking work week. And I'm getting real fucking weird vibes from like the upper managerial staff. And I'm really scared that they're going to try to say, hey, we're a little short staffed. We're going to need you to do more because you've been doing so good recently. And I'm going to have to say, hey, all I want to do is be left alone. If I can be left alone, I'm all in. If not, hard pass.
In short, no.
No. In short, no. I don't want to take a fucking any form of team lead position. No, thank you.
In summation, pass.
No. Exactly.
And of course, we're saving the guest for last. Returning to the show, a card-carrying friend of the program. He is the CEO of BitFry Games, a one-man I told you so moment machine, creator of what we can now officially call the Ultimate Rivals franchise, the Raging Bull himself, Ben Freidlin. What is good?
Hey, thanks for having me back. Just hearing that anime rant, though, did you notice that our reveal trailer today took some heavy inspiration from anime? I think it's fair to say. And
So-
I'm wondering how your reaction is to that.
So again, love the trailer, but I can't relate that to any so to say anime because I've never watched one. I have no reference point, you know.
Good.
If I had at some point in my life watched anime, I would say, "Huh, okay, yeah, I can see the references here," but you know,
Right.
I've never watched anime. Again,
enough.
love the trailer though.
Fair enough. It's great to be back. And I gotta
Great to-
say, I don't think I'm saying anything untoward, but this is not the biggest gaming podcast, but it is the best gaming podcast.
Hey,
Thank you.
you heard it here.
And we're not the biggest sports video game studio, but we're trying to be the best. So I
You
feel
guys are
like
the best.
the right.
You guys are the best.
You guys are the best. Number one in your programs, number one in your hearts.
That's right.
That's where the fuck I'm at. So I mean, let's before we dive into that, because I mean there's a whole lot to talk about. We got a whole lot of ground to cover. We got a whole lot of parquet to cover. We got a lot of hardwood to cover today.
A lot of parquet.
Well, a lot of that. A lot of, and we are
Futuristic
gonna,
parquet.
you know,
Yeah.
we're gonna talk a little bit about that. But before we do that, we're just gonna ease into it. We're gonna do a little segment that we like to call the weekend recap. And Ben, I know you said this before you got on the show. Like you were like, I have not been doing anything. Before you asked me, I have not been playing anything. I have not been doing anything. I have been working on the court, and
Yeah.
I respect that. I respect that. The great Allen Iverson once said, "Practice, not a game, but practice, not a game, not a game.
Yeah.
Practice." You want me to
We're
talk
talking
about
about
practice?
practice.
We're talking about practice. So now, have you given any time to yourself? Have you taken a couple adult beverages for a ride this weekend? Have you had any Ben time? Like, what's been going on?
Very little, I have to say. I mean, you reach a point at the end of this, the last 10% of making something this big, and there's, you know, I don't want this to be the case for people in the team, but for me, I don't really give myself that time off. No, I really haven't. Right now with you, this is like my first moment of peace. So
Wow.
this is blissful. This
I'll
is
stop
blissful,
right now.
I'm glad we can
And-
provide this for you.
and it gives me an excuse to have a beverage while we're
Hey, okay, all right, on the clock. Let's go.
Yeah. But no, really, it's all business, man. I mean, we're trying to do something that's very serious. You know, it's games, fun and games, but to make them this good, you got to be totally laser focused up until the last minute.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't realize that either because they just see the finished product, right? They don't see the circuitous path that it takes to get
Don't do
to
this. Don't do
the
this now,
finished
Chris.
product, right?
Don't do this now, Chris. Don't
You know,
start now.
I served you up soliloquy today on Twitter, and you didn't really run with it like I thought you might.
I thought it was a typo. I didn't know it was an actual word.
I'm
I'm not gonna lie, Ben. I'm a little nervous from the last time you were on here. I've been reading the dictionary for the past week since I knew you were coming on here. Anywhere you throw at me, I'm gonna know exactly what it means. Let's not do it now, but like towards the,
Fair enough.
you know, we'll mix them in.
Yeah, we actually, I did release on my Twitter account a couple. I'm calling them mastering sessions because I feel like we're mixing an album, and we've got all the tracks laid, and now it's like bring that level up, bring that level down. You know, bring in the stereo because we've got the game at the point where all the pieces are there. It's just mastering it into a complete. You know, it has to be a tour de force. I said it has to be a tour de force. If it's not, then it's not. I'm not going to be happy. But I did release a couple behind the scenes videos of our design team arguing about the most mundane things. People don't realize how much arguing goes on in making a game good, you know? So we do a lot of debate, and we do a lot of kicking and screaming to figure out like what's going to make every little thing perfect so that people like yourself are happy.
100%.
We want you to be happy, personally you.
That's how you know you have a passionate team. You know, passionate team that's good at what they do. You know, they're gonna butt heads, but at the end of the day, it's all about the finished product, making it the best product ever. It would be a completely different story if no one argued. Everyone was like, "Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, cool. Yeah, let's do that."
Yeah.
In fact, I get very nervous when there's no, when there's no conflict. I mean, you don't want any negative conflict, but you got to have some disagreement, otherwise somebody doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'd be worried if they said nothing. Like you know what I mean? If
Very much.
everybody was just like, "Man, it's all right, send it along." You know, like I'm sure Ben will be cool with this. Like, no, it's like, wait a minute, how many hours did you guys argue about this? Because I don't even want this to reach my desk unless I know that somebody was in a headlock about this.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, to like use an example, right? There's a Chinese food restaurant from where we're all from, and one day someone said something to the chef about like the food not tasting well, he came running out of the kitchen with a knife in his hand. That's passion. And guess
That's
what?
exactly
I
right.
love that restaurant
Yep.
now.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. You know that they're putting their blood, sweat, and tears into it.
I'm almost positive they fired that guy, and the food hasn't been the same since.
Yeah, and they almost put somebody else's blood into it too.
Right.
I mean, a little marinade never hurt anybody.
I mean, the C4 was the best deal of all time. You got like 5 chicken fingers, pork fried rice for like $4.50.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm gonna get some. I'm gonna have to get some spicy wings tomorrow. I think some crab rangoons maybe. All right. So speaking of things that you usually eat on weekends, Chris, how was your weekend?
What? My weekend was good. I was almost a hero this weekend. Not gonna lie. Sitting here at my desk like I do 10 hours a day. You know, just kind of keeping busy watching YouTube videos, playing video games. You know, scrolling around on Twitter, tapping the F5 button. And out of nowhere, my condo building, all the smoke alarm. I'm in a condo building. There's like 8 other units in it, and smoke alarms start going off. Common areas, everyone's unit. So I look outside. No one's car's home but me. And I was like, all right, like there's a fire. I'm a hero. I got to figure this shit out. I'm running up and down the floors, holding my hands on like doors and walls, trying to feel for heat, like trying to figure it out. A half hour goes by, and I'm trying to like get into places. It was mayhem. I go outside because like, you know, the logical thing, just go outside for a little bit, you know, maybe call the fire department. And the woman downstairs comes out. She's like, "Oh, sorry, burnt bacon." I was like, "Wait, where were you a half hour ago?"
Oh,
I'm trying to save the place. Like I'm putting the building on my back.
How do you burn bacon that hard?
I don't know.
It's possible.
I don't know. There's smoke up in the air and shit. I thought the place was coming down. But other than that, it was a decent weekend. Really didn't do a whole lot. As for what I've been playing, just mainly some Black Ops Cold War, a little bit of Warzone. But yeah, that's it. Looking forward to this weekend for sure. And yeah, that's me. But I would love to hear how Bob's weekend was, truly.
I got my second COVID vaccine on Friday, and then I slept for about 60 hours.
All right.
60.
That
Nice.
was dude. I got the shot at like 5 o'clock on Friday, drove home, and then I was in bed by 7:30. And then I woke up at like 2 p.m. I was out of bed for like 4 hours, maybe 5. Got back in bed, woke up again the next day at 2 o'clock, and then did the same thing for 2 nights in a row.
Sounds delightful.
Hey, man. Hey, it's over with. Now I can kiss everybody, and you know I'm vaccinated. So
I volunteer as tribute.
yeah, I'm ready to open mouth kiss whoever wants it. Just don't tell my girlfriend; she'll be really upset. Other than that, I've been still playing through Breath of the Wild. I think I'm gonna beat it this weekend. I got 1 Divine Beast left, and I think after that, I'm just gonna go straight for Calamity Ganon, and then just be done with it. I played it for like 2 weeks straight, every single night for 3 hours a night. There's only so many, dude. There's only so many shrines I could do. There's only so many Korok seeds I can look for. I come on, I'm gonna finish it this time. You know, I think I'm done.
Yeah, I can't wait until you get to that last fight. It's so fucking good, and like the music that they have.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's just, and like if you don't plan on getting all of those Korok seeds, please look up what you get, because it's great.
Oh, I know what you get. Don't you
awesome.
get like a turd?
It's Korok poop. It's like just gold poop.
Cool. I'm so glad that there's 900 of those in the game.
Yeah, that's like it's like, hey, you fucking jerk! Like this is a play on, or this is like a riff on, like all these games that have these like absurdly high like collectible limits, and it's like, guess what? You get a gold plated pile of shit.
Yep. Besides that, I've been streaming through Neo 2. I haven't been working on the backlog. I've been working on the review log because I had 3 fucking games I needed to play through and review. So I'm streaming through Neo 2 right now. I'm doing like 1 main mission at a time on stream, and then I'm recording all of the side quests off stream, just so I have some video footage to work with. So Neo 2, gonna get through that, and then Steve and myself, 3 vets in chat. Steve and myself have been playing through Man of Medan on stream, and ooh, that game's spooky. Great game though.
Spooky. Bobby scared.
I was a little scared.
Bobby slept with the lights on.
Sure.
It's like me when I got home the last 3 consecutive weekends on a fucking bender and a half. with these
Slept with all the lights on.
degenerates, all the lights and all the clothes on, jeans on top of the bed.
It happens, you know.
Oh my god. As for me, last weekend was a little bit more low key, thank Christ, because the last fucking month on my calendar has been getting bundled with one or both of these degenerates. So I was happy to have a little reprieve, and so was my body. Hung out with the dog. I took Miller to a little like marketplace nearby, so we had gave him a little outing. We've been trying to like take him out on the weekends and get him like as socialized as possible. And he's loving it. He's like the most social dog, like the most kidnappable animal ever. He'll like just run up to anybody and just like jump in your lap and like let you take him. So gotta watch out for that. Got back to the run game this weekend, so that felt really good. I went to this like indoor like treadmill studio, so they have like spin classes. I didn't know they did that for running. So they have like a bunch of like these fucking huge treadmills. Some lady was yelling at us the entire time, and it was actually pretty good. I did pretty good. I haven't ran since like Thanksgiving, and I felt really fucking good. And I was like, I did a lot better than I thought I was going to, and that saved me from I was like bracing myself for the wave of crippling depression that was going to happen if I like couldn't run. But I did pretty fucking good, and I'm very proud of that. And that was I'm just really excited about that. And so as far as games go, I downloaded the Outriders demo, and that's pretty fucking great. It is basically like kind of like a Division 2, but with like Mass Effect kind of powers, which is really great. And I'm really looking forward to every other game in its space is doing terrible right now. So if Outriders launches the right way, it seems like the demo has gotten some really awesome feedback so far. So if it does it right and doesn't fall flat on its face when it comes out of the gate, I think it's poised to like take over that genre. But it's really fucking cool, and the whole like first hour is like super cinematic and really great, and just sets itself apart from everything else, kind of like in the lootery shootery space, which is great. Also, I also gamed with Steve this weekend, and we played some World of Warcraft, and I am almost done. I got 3 bosses left in the heroic raid, which is the farthest that I've been in so fucking long, in like probably 4 or 5 expansions. And goddamn, we're so fucking close. So I took a day. I actually took the day tomorrow. I'm off all day tomorrow, and I'm gonna try to down those last 3 bosses. Me and Steve are gonna try to record some of that, because the experiences that we get into are just a social people watching experiment for the fucking ages every single time. So, all right. That's all. Let's get to the meat and potatoes here. Let's get to the gravy, you know? Let's get down to let's get this bread, as the kids say. Ben, you're here with us. You could be anywhere else in the world right now, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. You know,
It's an honor. It's really an honor.
I know that you are a fellow Jay-Z quote appreciator, so I figured, I'd throw that one at you. So Ultimate Rivals The Court was officially announced today. Game Informer, big exclusive spread, wickedgoodgaming.com about 15 minutes later, got the second spread on that, you know. But listen, there's nothing wrong with little sloppy seconds here and there. But Ultimate Rivals The Court is finally out. You got new athletes, a whole new like backdrop lore wise. I mean, basically, I don't know. I mean, Ultimate Rivals is now. I mean, you can call it a franchise now. We knew before. I mean, we knew before that this was going to be a series. We knew that this was going to be something that goes to multiple sports, ideally. And now it's poised to really make a fucking huge splash with The Court. And I mean, it seems like there's been the initial reactions to the trailer, I feel like, have been incredibly strong. For those who don't know, or who've been like living under a rock for the last 12 hours, like, what is the most exciting stuff about The Court for you, and why should everybody else get hype with you?
Well, I think first of all, let me say I'm nothing but proud about what we did with the rink. I mean, I think I told you we built that in 8 months. When we started that project, we had a team of like 8 or 9 people, and we scaled up, and we delivered that in 8 months. But we took, the lessons of the rink, and we just amplified the level of VFX, the speed of the game, sound effects, the animation, the variation between athletes and sports. We just amplified it by 1,000, and we wanted it to be so over the top in terms of, extreme impression that it leaves when you're playing it, when you're looking at it. We want it to be watchable. We want it to be something that people will want to watch other people playing. And I don't know. I mean, I think it's every time I look at it, every new day that comes by and the team is iterating on it, it just looks more and more unbelievable. I don't think there's anything in the category. There's not even a lot of games, I think, in arcade category, even outside of sports, that are bringing that level of aesthetic, whiplash, if you will, into the market. And so I think it's going to leave a pretty big impression on anyone who looks at the trailer. And not to leave it just on the gameplay, but we really want to make sure that it had some lore behind it this time, because the ability to bring all those athletes together in one universe is unique. And it just felt a little empty it felt like too much of a licensing exercise to just put them into a game and say,
yeah,
that's it. And so we've been working, Mark Nelson, who's our chief creative officer, for the last year and a half, has been working on iterations of a comic backstory. We did one, we weren't in love with it, so we scrapped it. We did another one, and we have a comic, book that's going to come out to support the universe. And we distilled a lot of that story into the trailer to give it a premise, for what we're living. And it's funny because when we started making the games a few years ago, we didn't have crowds or audience in the game, and everyone was like, you can't do a sports game that doesn't have an audience in it. And of course we launch our game, and like 2 months later we're in a pandemic and there are no audiences in sports. And it's a sad thing, and there's nothing funny about what's going on the last year, but I feel like there's an aesthetic in our game, and I think the way we create this creative universe that fits the time that we're in. It's a little bit of a odd future world that it feels like we're living in right now. It almost feels like an alternate reality.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I want to say something that I find really cool. So all my buddies, we have our group chat, and they obviously know what we do. We've been doing this for years at this point, but never ever do I ever jam anything down their throat with articles or tweets or anything like that. And once Dom posted the article on our website today, a couple minutes went by, whatever, and then I get a text from my group from two of my buddies. The first one that kicked it off is like, Chris, what was that game that Dom just blogged about? And I told my buddy, he goes, Mike, did you look at that? Mike goes, yeah, I want it now. So
That's
these
great.
are my friends that aren't the biggest gamers in the world by any means, but they're sports game guys. They'll get on tonight and play NHL for hours, or they'll play NBA or NFL, Madden. But just to see that, and I was like, holy shit, Ben's got something here. This is really cool. And I said, I didn't expect it. I didn't put it on their radar at all. Yeah. Maybe they just saw what Dom posted, looked at it, and they asked me all about it. Yeah.
I mean, we want to build something that fits the times. Games are getting faster and faster, right? I mean, you go back and play NHL 94, which is still a benchmark, or NBA Jam, which is still to me the Abbey Road of basketball games, right? So you're always looking over your shoulder and wow, we got a lot to kind of live up to. But we're also living in a different era. The younger generation today, they play at a speed that's just different than what we played with.
Yeah.
And so we really been pushing it really hard. And I saw a quote, NBA Jam for the New World Order was one of the quotes I saw for the game, which I thought was kind of a cool fit. Not because we're so much like Jam, because we're not trying to copy the games of the past, but it's always going to be impossible to fully avoid those kinds of comparisons, right? Because that is the gold standard.
But then you also have to accept the fact that the court is being compared to arguably one of the best arcade basketball games ever released. So even when it comes to the comparison's sake, it's still being held to that high of a standard too. And that's like you were saying, you can't help but compare those things. And every time I see it, it's like, wow, this is this generation's NBA Jam. The game that all of the kids now never had the opportunity to play like we did when we were growing up. This is now their shot.
Well, I love hearing that. I hope we live. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and not for nothing, but and this is not a knock on the game, but this is an amount of fanfare that I don't think I've really seen a game that is premiering on mobile get. I mean, to have this high of a profile, to have this level of partnership, to have these personalities behind it, there are very few mobile exclusive. It's weird to even call it a mobile game because I feel like Apple
It's
Arcade
not.
is more. Apple
Yeah.
Arcade is more than a mobile platform, and it's obviously not. I mean, you've already said it's going to come to consoles. It's going to come to Steam.
Yeah.
It's not a mobile game, but a game that is premiering on iOS to get this level of fanfare and also have this level of polish, have this level of like star power behind it. It's so
Yeah.
much more than that, and it's breaking ground in so many different ways, in so many different directions that like it's tough not
Yeah.
to pay attention to it.
It's tough not to pay attention. It's also tough to talk about it because it's like, where do you start? You know, whenever I talk about it with people in the biz dev space, it's like the story's got so many different. It's like, you know, spikes coming out of it. But I think we're not a mobile game company, and I always get defensive when I'm talking to somebody in the biz dev space and they talk about, well, you're making mobile games. It's like, no, we're making console games that run on a mobile device, and we love our partnership with Apple, and putting it there first, I think, kind of proves that
Yeah.
you can do something like that. Like, you know, the thing that we tackle is like keeping the heat of the device low enough because we're pushing the GPU so much with those. I mean, you saw the VFX in the 15 seconds of gameplay in that trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
And it is. And honestly, and believe me, these guys can tell you I own more Apple devices than the average person. I'm pushing for Apple Arcade to win. I've been you know been a big Apple guy forever. So I mean, it's awesome to see a title like this premiere on Apple Arcade and to have that push the platform, especially when so many other platforms like it are fucking floundering, like you read about.
Yeah.
And you do read about it, but and
I think it's a compliment to the. It says a lot, you know, about being on that platform, that there's a game, you know, that everybody's like, can't wait to play it everywhere. I'm proud of that.
That's the definition of like it's the game equivalent of appointment television. Like this is like you need this is why at the very least you're going to sign up for the trial because it's like, fuck, I need to play this game. You know what I mean? And this is making you stick around because it has so much depth and so much, you know, so much to actually experience. And again, I mean, people know, I've said it a million times. I said it on the last episode that you were on. I'm the biggest NBA Jam guy there is. And, you know, when I found out that you were doing the court, and you said it on the last episode, like we had 8 months to do the rink. Like watch what we do with this much time for the court. Like watch what we do.
Which isn't much longer, by the way. I think if you count just full development, like full scale development for what you saw today, I think it's still only like 11 months, believe it or not. Like, I'm proud of that. But if you're not in the games industry, you don't know, like most studios take 2 years to make something that plays and looks like that. And it's not always great. And I hope everyone thinks it's great. So I don't want to get ahead of myself, but you know, we are really efficient and determined, and we have a really good vision of what we're doing. So I think we're able to act quickly, and we don't have a lot of red tape in our design process. We just, like, if we've got crazy ideas, we just do them. You know, we do them until we do them. If they're fun, we keep them, and if they're not, we kick them out immediately.
Yeah. So here's a question, right? So when you were at the beginning, you said that you guys wanted to develop a game that looked nice and that like people would enjoy watching, even if they weren't playing it, obviously. When you guys were developing it, did you ever think, like, did the words ever come up, like party game? Because like with me, when I see that, I can picture me and my buddies just like sitting around the living room table, drinking, just like playing that, having a blast.
You know what's so funny? Like to me, like the canonical, that's your vocab word for the day. Your canonical like experience with a basketball game is going to be 4 quarters and it's like a few minutes, right? That's what a basketball game is. But I was testing out the first time user experience that we put in there for, you know, every time you start the game for the first time, you have to go through a tutorial. And I got to a stage where I had to do 2 layups and 2 jump shots to continue in the tutorial. And I deliberately didn't do the layups because I was having so much fun just shooting the basket over and over and over again for like an hour. And I thought we could do a mode where it's an endless basketball game where you keep unlocking quarters. The music changes, the speed changes, you unlock different skins, you can unlock characters in that mode, you have a high score. And then I started thinking like, this is almost like a shoot 'em up. Like I want to see like stacks of telephone numbers as a score of the game. Like think way outside of like what you think of a basketball game as, because that's the potential of something like this. And I would watch someone play that for like an hour and a half because it's just ridiculous.
It gives the people ability to like break, like people can hold a record, right? In that certain game mode where they have the highest score. It's like, think of like Tony Hawk, right? Where you can play Tony Hawk like you're supposed to play it, but you see this like niche group of people that go for the highest like combos and shit like that.
That's exactly, we talk about Tony Hawk in the studio all the time. Like that's another holy grail game.
So you heard it here first. BitFry Games coming out with the next Tony Hawk game.
It's funny. We were looking at like there's a skateboarding league out there. I forget. We were pursuing so many different licenses. There was a time when we were like, we should put tennis stars in here. And Todd Zeal and I were with our CMO at the time, Gary Pfeiffer, who came out of Disney, and we were in New York City, and the U.S. Open was going on, and we jumped on a 7 train to Queens because Todd has he played pro ball for 20 years, so he has friends in every sport, and he used to play for the Mets. And that's right across the street from the U.S. Open. So we went out there on the subway, and we were like trying to buy tickets, and the U.S. Open tickets, you can't get those.
Right. Yeah.
And they were like thousands of dollars. And we're like, well, we're not doing that. And we stood outside the U.S. Open, and I was flagging down people coming out, asking them if they were Mets or Yankees or Cardinals fans, and getting Todd to give an autograph in exchange for their ticket to see if we could get like re-entry, just so we could go in there and find his friend who was doing like color commentary for the U.S. Tennis Association. And in the end, like Todd got in because the security guard recognized him from being on the Mets. Wow. And he got in. He was like, okay, go to this gate, and like those guys will let you in. And like we ended up running around in circles for like an hour trying to find what gate it was. So we went through like crazy missions like that to try to find licenses. And at one point, skateboarding was actually something we were thinking about bringing into the game. And I can't tell you what today, but we do have new IP coming into the game that is outside of the 5 sports that we've already announced. And it's going to shock people.
I can't wait.
Well, first off, I love the hustle. That's exactly what it is, hustle. I love that hustle. Secondly, Tony Hawk's pretty tall. I wonder how we'd be at basketball.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, the hustle is the genuine, sentiment. Like every time, like Ben, every time you tweet something or like repost something from the BitFry thing, like you put it into context and be like, this is the result of, us like grinding our asses off for the last like 6 months. Like here's another I told you so moment. Like here, we're partnering with fucking Tim Kitzrow, who, if you don't know who Tim Kitzrow is, he's the voiceover guy from NBA Jam. He's the Boom Shakalaka guy, the He's on Fire guy. Can you tell us how you got Tim Kitzrow involved and like what that was like to get that voice added to the game?
I'm going to do that while I'm on pro IMDb Pro, looking up Tony Hawk and his agent right now to see how we might be able to get him in the game.
And you tell him in that meeting, the boys over at WGG sent you, and he's free to come on the show whenever.
He's going to say, who the hell are those?
Tony Hawk's going to go, oh, my favorite gaming podcast? Oh, absolutely. I'll be right on there.
Exactly.
It says he's rep by William Morris. So I'll reach out and see if we can get anyone interested in that idea. I think it'd be cool to see someone with a skateboard going up and down the court.
Yeah.
Are we officially PR guys? We're officially
200
PR.
IQ.
Yeah.
Well, you are going to be in the game. You're going to be playable in the game, and might as well jump all over the.
I mean, you heard it
here first. You heard it here first. Breaking news: the first DLC pack for the court, Ultimate Rebels to Court, is us.
Let me tell you, we need more licenses. There's nothing like licenses. We just need more of those.
I will absolutely sell you Not Another Gaming Podcast for like $50 and like I can't.
Yeah, we all have our license. That's fine. We can. We'll do it. Yeah. We all have our license. Tim
Kitzrow. I'll tell you, that was a tricky one because I had one person who I can't name, who was at a partner company of ours who was like, it'd be really cool if you got Tim Kitzrow in the game. And I just like crapped all over the idea for a long time because it's too low. It's almost too loaded. The comparisons to Jam, without some real ingenuity, we're making me a little insecure. Because we're not trying to copy that game.
Right.
You can't copy Abbey Road. You're making something different. But I did finally reach out to Tim, and I wasn't expecting to hear from him, and I got a call from him one day because I didn't know who he was. Calling me, it was a Chicago number, and I was like, "This is Tim. I can tell by his voice." And he turned out to be, this guy is like the Robin Williams of sport, of like video game and like voiceover acting. Like, he's not just a voice that you recognize. He can riff with comedy and creative lines for hours without ever running out of energy. Like, it reminded me a lot of Robin Williams, honestly. Like, just creatively absolutely brilliant. And it got me thinking, like, well, what if we had him as a playable character in the game? Like, and if you drafted him on your team, he can give you different abilities. And we're not announcing that that's happening yet. It could happen.
That was a good save. Good save.
Good save. Yeah. But it did make me realize, like, hey, this is a talented person who we're not just going to slap his voice on the game. We're going to give him an opportunity to help us shape the narrative of the lore of the game, which I was talking about earlier. I think, when we were starting off the segment, is being important to like what we're doing. And I think having him come in there and do things that are different than what he's done in the past, provide a level of, innovation that I think will stand on its own and not just be seen as repetitive.
Absolutely. And like, that's the thing, is like, you can, like, this is the difference that sets you guys apart from everybody else. I mean, there's been plenty of arcade games that have tried to replicate what like, they're like, oh, this is this generation's this. I mean, even NBA Jam tried to do, I think it was like 2015 or 2014, they did like the remaster or like the relaunch of NBA Jam, like kind of a spiritual successor to it with modern athletes, and it was okay, but it wasn't like, it just didn't have that same like magic to it. It just felt kind of blah, and there was nothing for me anyway, as somebody who's the original is like one of my favorite games, to have that be kind of fall flat personally was just was a bummer.
That's like seeing Indiana Jones 5 though. It's like, it can't possibly, like, whoever's behind that it's playing not to lose to the extreme, right? Because there's so much pressure on you that you're going to do all the things that are counterintuitive. And I'm not weighing in on that game per se, but just that whole concept. You've done that for me, so I don't have to. But like, I think that's the trouble with remakes, with remasters, with sequels. It's like, it's kind of sad because Hollywood and games is so stuck in a loop with just redoing things. And I think we need more commercial artists who are just given a flyer to do crazy shit. And I think more money will be made that way than constantly trying to protect the position in the market and thinking defensively, because it doesn't lead to new things that are compelling. Usually.
Well, that's the issue you see with annual releases for every single major AAA franchise that's out right now.
Yeah.
And like we said last time we had you on, you look at the sports franchises that are being released every single year right now. It is at most a up-resed like version 1.5 of the previous years. I mean, now you gotta innovate at some point. You have to revamp. You have to think outside of the box a little bit. Of course, it's understood that franchises like that, they're designed to just rake in money. You're gonna make money no matter what, because you have that dedicated fan base that's going to buy it every single year, regardless. Just like Chris buys Call of Duty every single year, there's going to be someone who's buying Madden every single year, and they're going to be just ingesting money into it.
I mean, that's true. I mean, you have to have such big hits, I think, when you're a company that size, that it makes it hard. I think maybe there are even people who want to do stuff, but to translate that into something that's going to keep your stock moving at that kind of market cap, it's not easy. And I also think, like, not to give excuses to everyone, but when you're making something that's mimicking the real thing, you're kind of constrained. I mean, your whole pitch is like, we're recreating the real thing, and that kind of requires that you stick to what the real thing is. And so for us, I mean, we're able to take artistic license and do ridiculous things because no one's expecting us to recreate the game of basketball the way it actually is played. And it gives us a lot of freedom, but it also creates a lot of challenges, because creating something that's aesthetically pleasing that isn't based on reality is very hard, because you can't copy reality. You have to create art that looks cool that no one's ever seen before, and that is a lot harder than copying reality. You can't do motion capture. You can't do photographic texture skinning. You can't do all the things that I don't want to say they're technically expensive and challenging, and that's why they're impressive, but they're not artistically challenging, if you know what I mean. Like, our artists have a harder time making Ultimate Rivals look good than anyone who's making a sim. because there's nothing to reference it to, and no one knows what it should look like, and that's like a journey that can be very painful at times.
Yeah, I think good.
Oh, I was gonna say I like every time I look at anything from Ultimate Rivals, I can't help but be amazed by like the general character design of each player. They all basically like have the same base, which is like smooth, smooth, semi-polygonal, but it's like it's textured enough to make it all look individually unique. But the faces, the moment you see a face, you know who that player is. And that I think is I'm just blown away every single time I see a new character that's being brought into the roster, because again, it follows that like 90% from neck down. It's like simplistic character design, but smooth and elegant. And then the face characteristics are all like spot on to the individual.
And you know what? We actually redid all the heads for the court, I believe. So we did our best that we could in 8 months with the rink. But I wasn't like really that happy with it, to be honest. And we redid them all. So when we come out of the court, I believe all the hockey players that were in the rink and all the players that were in the rink and all new 70 characters that are in the court are all going to have new modeling and texturing on their face. And we also have redone all the bodies. And there's like 16, I don't quote me on the number, I'll be off, but I think it's like 16 different body types for, 4 different per sport or something like that. And altogether, like we've amped up the level of quality in the models this time. And the aesthetics like are inspired by, like a sort of if you think about like a Frank Miller Batman, type of Dark Knight meets Gears of War. Our lead character designer was on Gears of War, with Microsoft, and we joke about it being like Gears of War on ice. As far as like the rink goes. So, we're definitely like mashing together this like post-industrial dystopian sort of like hard edge surfaces, in kind of a rough, kind of mechanical look to it.
Yeah, what I was gonna say was like talking about the whole normal sports games that you can think of, like right off the bat. Pretty much every year to ticket to printing money. It doesn't matter really what's different. You follow that franchise, you're gonna buy it regardless. I think where you guys kind of step in, and I guess you could say with the whole industry as a whole, the games industry, is people are afraid to take risks because that game might fail. And like the people upstairs are going to be mad, but you already know what works. So why not just fall back on Old Faithful, something that's made you a boatload of money in the past? But I think where people like yourself and other like smaller development companies will excel is they're not scared to take those risks. They want to make something new. They want to put a spin on something that exists, but make it their own, something that hasn't been done before. And I think that's where you can see the real success, because who knows, like you knock it out of the park, which from what we've seen, I'm very excited to play it. Yeah. But who knows, like going forward, maybe the arcade franchise, sports arcade franchise gets compared to Ultimate Rivals. Like it's all about taking that initial risk. And that's where you'll really get the benefits.
I agree. I think we're in a weird kind of spot because we have so much IP and it's so big IP. The IP is just massive that even though we're indie, I think we're in a unique category that we're like typically anyone with this kind of IP would play it safe. And I just felt early on like we'll never make a mark if we play it safe. We have to just go, with our gut and go for something aesthetically really strong and unique. And gameplay has to just be, eliminate everything that isn't fun. I was talking about how we would make a baseball game, and I would take all the foul ball animations out. Like, every time you hit a foul ball, even in like an arcade game, you watch it for like 5 seconds. It's like, why would you need to see that? Like, how do you deconstruct the tiramisu? So it's just like a dollop of, cream and a sponge cake. You know what I'm saying? And a little cappuccino or whatever.
That's my favorite. It's my favorite dessert. So you're speaking my language.
Yeah, that's I don't know. I love that.
Oh my god, I think that's what you just said is just the most 250 IQ thing I've ever heard from any team creating a game. Because when you play those games, you're 100% right. Why the fuck would I want to watch a foul ball for the next 7 seconds? Just get back onto the game. Get back into the game.
I mean, from just what Ben was saying, like not playing it too safe. That's exactly what and like the like revival of NBA Jam did. It played it too safe. It was exactly. It just like was too clean and too kind of like soft edged and was just very. It played it too safe. It was like episode 7 of Star Wars. Like it was just a New Hope again. And they played it safe. They were like, "There's people aren't going to love this. They're not going to hate this. They're just going to like it because it's what they know, and they'll be fine." But like the NBA Jam revival for me anyway. And these are my words. My words do not reflect the opinions of Ben's employer, himself,
which is myself.
But it fell flat for me, and it was kind of stale because it was just like, oh, this isn't really. I almost would rather plug in my Super Nintendo and play NBA Jam because it's like even that much more like grittier and just whatever. But it was playing it too safe. But then you have Ultimate Rivals and I go to Ben's Twitter and he's like, yeah, we have a fucking spaceship, by the way, and it's just in the middle of the goddamn court. And you got Alex Morgan windmill dunking on LeBron's face, and I mean, how do you not love that? Yeah. And so, but let me ask you,
maybe we'll have someone on a skateboard.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe. Who's to say?
Look, here I am. We say it every week. We say it every week. I will things into existence. I speak it and it happens. Tony Hawk.
I'm gonna like when we're done and I already got the email drafted. I'm going at that.
Hey, don't forget to CC me.
I was gonna say BCC Dom at Wicked Good Gaming.
I will BCC you. Why not?
CC'd is my attorney, Bob from Wicked Good Gaming.
My legal representation.
This is his college email. Who's this guy?
No. Hey, I went to Suffolk. They'll just think I went to Suffolk Law.
That's true. Yeah, you don't have to say that. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to say.
Isn't that illegal though? You're impersonating a law.
I'm not impersonating anything.
Yeah,
okay.
It's illegal to impersonate a cop, not a lawyer. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, Bob's been impersonating a doctor for the past 5 years.
No. Nope, that is a false claim. Day one, I came forward and said, I am not actually a doctor. I'm a physicist that works in the medical field. There's a difference. Not a doctor, simply
it's like
a physicist.
Being like a doctor of education. Like, you're not going to say, like, yeah, I can fix that guy's, like, dislocated shoulder. Like, I can't do that.
I mean, I probably could fix somebody's dislocated shoulder.
You're a doctor.
Well,
I'm not a doctor.
So Ben, you clearly have like a very distinct vision for the Ultimate Rivals franchise, and you strike me as a guy who appreciates like the art form behind making games. Yeah. And I mean, maybe it's the black and white background, but like you strike me as a guy who calls movies like film or like pictures. You know what I mean?
No, I'm not that. I'm not like an elitist like that.
No.
I think it's art.
Not even that, but like you're an artist, and I respect that. But one thing I do want to pick your brain on, because I want people to get inside. Like this is like like the magic shell with the little peanut butter on top of the ice cream. I want to just take the spoon and just like right on top of the magic shell right there. So I want to hear your guiltiest pleasures when it comes to like music or movies or games. Like what are like the most like maybe it's like a crappy movie, but like you can't help but love it. But like some games or movies or whatever or music that people would be like, what? Like you love that? Like give me that. Hit me with some.
Yeah, like so Todd, I don't know who was giving me grief. I don't know if it was Todd or somebody, but like I'm a big fan of Tom Cruise.
Yes.
Okay, so like at least his cool movies, where he's being
You mean all of them?
That's every single movie he's ever been in.
Yeah, well, there's some that are kind of like a little more fringe and artistic, which are fine. But whether it's Top Gun or the racing one he did, Days of Thunder, or more recently, like I'm a big Mission Impossible fan.
Dude, Mission Impossible Fallout was so goddamn good.
Come on, man. Come on.
Reload your arms. Tell me you didn't do that in the mirror a couple times, because I do that all the time. Come on.
I think those are great movies, and I get a lot of heat from friends about liking that and liking him, because he's an interesting guy at this stage of his life. But so I'm definitely into like 80s, that kind of 80s stuff. Anyone who was big in the 80s who's still doing it now, I think
Mickey Rourke.
Why not?
I heard Tom Cruise is really short in real life, like 5'3".
I think I've heard that.
Really short.
That's like,
I
yeah,
wouldn't
it's
be
not like
surprised.
a you know, yeah, that's like a commonly known thing. And they,
Well, spoiler: Tom Cruise is short.
yeah, no, he is. He's like
You
that
heard
was
it.
like,
You heard it here first.
That's right.
and a lot of his like female leads are taller than him, so they have to kind of like angle the camera down. It's great, but no, dude, Mission Impossible Fallout's one of the best action movies I've seen in like my entire life. It's so goddamn good. What about
Yeah, and
anything
also
else?
I like. No, I was gonna say I liked how he's also self-directed about his vision. You know, I think he produces everything himself. I don't think he does any movies. I'm a huge Jason Statham fan, and
Yeah.
Yes.
you know, anything like I thought the movie that he did with Dwayne Johnson, I thought that was good. What was it?
Hobbs and Shaw?
I thought that was good. Like to me, that's a good film. Okay, that's good
Hell yeah.
filmmaking.
A good picture.
It's a real good picture.
A good picture.
I mean, and
right.
he's another guy who like did all of his own movies. You know, like right? Didn't he do all his own movies? And like
Yeah.
like the Transporter movies weren't those all pretty much his own
Yes.
productions? Made himself, self-made. You know, took a formula that he developed that had some real unique qualities to it. Kind of had a European flair to it. So I think it was interesting to us as Americans.
In the Transporter 2, I'll never forget this for as long as I fucking live. So the Transporter 2, and these, I love those movies so much, and like Crank, those movies too, like just it's like cinematic junk food, but you just can't. I'm just stuffing my face with it. So Transporter 2, they're in a like one of those multi-tiered parking garages, and he's on a.
Yeah, I remember that with the Audi.
The Audi, they're in the Audi, and then there's like, I think there's a one of them's on like a Ducati. There's a helicopter with like a lady on it, and this chick like pulls an Uzi out of her pocket and shoots it at the helicopter, just brrr, and the helicopter explodes. There's no reason why the helicopter should explode.
Yeah,
and
well, I didn't like one thing about that movie. I didn't like is that the A8 doesn't have a manual transmission, and it was kind of pathetic to see them try to work around the Tiptronic gear shifter. That he's supposed to be a cool, gear shifting, like real car person, and that car doesn't. They never made one with a 6-speed, even in Europe. So it looked kind of lame.
Oh, so because they kept doing like the quick cuts to the.
They kept doing like.
And
it was just like that's not really a gearbox. I can see from like the way they're doing. That wasn't good filmmaking.
Well, I mean, it wasn't as bad as the new Fast and Furious, where Vin Diesel caught a minivan on the highway that got thrown at his car.
Wait, what? I didn't.
Yeah, you remember it was in the trailer. I don't watch Fast and the Furious movies anymore. I think they should just kind of. In the trailer, it wasn't a minivan, but it was a car, and he was like on the back of a flatbed truck, and a car flipped over, and he like caught it in the air. I was like, okay, now they're superheroes. Fucking Vin Diesel, man.
Oh fuck.
Well, he's another one. He's another one. He's another one who I like. It's funny because he was in like. Do you ever see The Boiler Room?
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's like a not his typical kind of movie, but he can actually act.
No, he's got the chops.
Yeah. Or the sci-fi ones. What was it? The ones where
Chronicles of Riddick.
Those are great, and there was a game with that too.
And Escape from Butcher Bay.
That was innovation. I think he's an innovative commercial artist. I really do. I actually think that.
That the pacifier.
I was just gonna say people are gonna forget about the pacifier. What a picture, man! What a picture.
No, but those really are good, and I love a good Vin Diesel movie. Honestly, like if I see him in a movie, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna say, you know what? He's an actor that I sit down and I'm like, you know what? Vin Diesel's in this. There's something to it. Something is gonna happen here. There's gonna be something to it, and I'm gonna love it.
Wait, he's in a game that was literally just announced like 2 events ago.
Yeah, it's like the survival one. It was like Ark kind of, but something different.
Yeah, what the hell?
It was Ark 2. It was Ark 2.
Yeah, it's literally Ark 2. Yeah,
it's Ark 2. Yeah.
God bless you.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's important to everybody should, and I certainly do, consider video games as an art form, and they are. But I think it's also important to understand, if you peel back a couple of those layers, like when we're not like, what's like the junk food that goes into like because every so often you see like an action scene or like you hear like a cheesy line of dialogue and you're like, wow, like that is like, it's almost too brilliant to be like self-aware, and that type of stuff is important too. So that's
100%.
why I ask. What's your favorite comedies? What are like some of your favorite comedies of all time?
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Classic.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off for me is,
hell yeah,
like one of my top 3 movies probably. I think those are like the 2 big ones for me that I
what
go
about
back to.
Napoleon Dynamite, maybe?
I respect that a lot. It's funny. It feels like it came from, it was a 90s film, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 99 or like, or no. It was like early.
No, that was
like
that was
05?
mid 2000s.
Well, you have to understand, like when you're my age, like
it all blends together.
Yeah,
I mean, you were
90s.
6
that's an incredible movie, right? That's something that's, I mean, I'm not a filmmaker, but they did something that, as far as I know, nobody was doing, and that's why it was refreshing. I mean, anytime somebody does something that no one's doing and they do it well, I think people will appreciate it.
I mean, the movie had zero direction. It was hilarious. Like, it starts off, he's on the bus with like an action figure out the window, just like pulling the string off the bus. The only storyline was he wanted to bring the girl to prom. That was it.
I'm almost done finishing the shading on your upper lip. It's like that type of shit. I mean, I appreciate that look inside, because I definitely can appreciate the, like, I love a good, love a good role-playing game that's like super deep lore-wise, and then I can like really just dive into it, and it's super dead serious, dark fantasy, stuff like that. And then I also can appreciate, like a nice, like silly, D&D session, or like a comedy that is like revolved around kind of like the fantasy space or something like that. I love a good sports drama. I basically, if you give me like a good sports drama, like I'm gonna cry. I've cried at every single Rocky movie, both Creed movies. I have cried like a fucking baby. And then I go and I watch like
Hardball.
Oh my god! Please don't get me. I gotta go.
What about? How do you feel about The Natural?
Oh.
Let me ask you a question. Would you ever play a video game based on The Natural that had like an RPG element, but it had like a baseball component to it?
Well, not taking into consideration the last chat that we had on the last episode that you were on, because I know you're a big fan of that movie, and I know that like you're a big fan of like the vintage baseball titles. I would absolutely play that, because I feel like the sim titles now, like they try to do a sports story and they always kind of like are too corny, or like they fall flat, or like it ends up all being the same. Like Madden got like flamed because their football like story mode was terrible, but they have all these big names and these big actors. But I would love to see like a cinematic, like true, like emotional sports story. Give me The Natural, like you said, like give me that as a role-playing game, but as a solid baseball game around it.
Yeah. So you're a pre-order on The Natural video game if there ever was one.
100%. I'm doing 100%. All $63.74, including Massachusetts sales tax. I mean, Wyoming sales tax are right on there. Day one, I'm doing that. If you give me like a good, like, have you ever seen Hardball with Keanu Reeves?
No, I haven't seen that.
That's required reading. That's
I gotta
next time.
That. Yeah.
So so it's like it's like a darker version of the Mighty Ducks, but with baseball instead of hockey. So Keanu Reeves is like a booze bag. He's a degenerate gambler. He's lost all his money, and his buddy, his like high school friend, is a big time lawyer, and his firm sponsors a kids baseball team, like based in the projects basically. And so he says, listen, I don't want to coach these kids baseball teams. I'm making too much money. I don't want to do this. I'll pay you. I'll pay off your gambling debts if you coach these kids for me. And he learns about himself. The kids learn about him. It's like a feel good sports movie, but there's so much good like drama. Oh my god. I'm
check that out.
I got like a whole lump in my throat now. I can't even talk about it.
I know this doesn't really fit, but like I'm a huge fan of School of Rock.
Yeah,
yes.
I love that movie.
That's always a fit on this podcast. That's always
classic.
a fit.
Yeah.
I
went to see the Broadway play, twice,
Really?
Was it good?
Was it good?
Yeah.
I was dying to see that when I saw that it was coming out.
It was really good because they took it, so they really had a lot of fun with it. And the kids they had in the cast were like incredible talents musically and singing and everything. It was really good.
So,
And you go into a movie adaptation of a Broadway play, and you're like, it can't, because the actor's not there; it's a different actor, so you're set up for disappointment. But they nailed it.
I mean, I saw like Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, and like the past 30 people who played Spider-Man like died, and they finally had the show on. Like we went to go see that in New York, and it was pretty fucking good. But it was knowing how many people were in the ER from the production of that play when we saw it. I was like, I feel kind of bad giving these guys money.
I remember that was that. Yeah, that's not good.
Ben, you said you like old school baseball movies?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not telling you how to develop your games if a baseball one ever comes out. I just kind of want to. This is where my brain goes, right? I don't know what the proper like licensing is or anything like that, but maybe like a field.
No, if I can get any more licenses, I would love to add more licenses to the whole thing. Nothing like having licenses.
What I'm going to say is, like, I don't know who you go to for this, but I feel like something would be cool if you pay a little homage to, if I pronounce it right, homage to Field of Dreams, maybe, where if you're building the lore, like introducing the players, maybe if you build it, They Will comes out, and then the players come out of the cornfield.
That's my second favorite baseball movie. My favorite monologue in any sports film is the James Earl Jones, Ray. And he goes into that whole thing, and it's just like that's incredible.
Yeah,
that's better than anything in The Natural. But I'll give you a quote from The Natural that I love.
Give it to me.
Go for it.
Hit me.
It's Glenn Close when she's sitting next to Redford in the hospital bed, and she says, "I believe we live two lives: the life we learn with and the life we live with." Ooh. Right? That's kind of heavy.
That does hit. That hits. I was actually about to say this, and then Pete put it in the chat. I'm just saying, if you do the Ultimate Rivals baseball game, get Charlie Sheen on the license to relive the Wild thing. I'm just saying,
it's on our list. You know who's friends with Charlie is Todd Zeal. Todd did anger management, and Todd's part of Bitfry. So we would definitely try to do that. I don't know what Charlie's doing these days, or if he's
he was just. I seen him in the Super Bowl doing a commercial about like real estate or something. So something tells me he's not going to turn that shit down.
That's right.
He's doing fucking Buick commercials now.
I mean, those new Buicks are looking kind of tight, though. You catch me in one of those Buicks.
Yo, they're not bad looking.
We're gonna rent one when we go up to Portsmouth to do mocap for Ultimate Rivals, the podcast.
We should.
You just play as a bunch of guys beating the shit out of each other in a podcast studio.
You know what? The funny thing is, we're in the world of games now, where that stuff is what you see these games come out. It's like Cat Simulator, Goat Simulator, the Duck Game,
Podcast Simulator. Yeah. Untitled podcast game.
I mean, that's it. Why don't we do that? Like, let's do a game jam. Let's do a game jam with the Bitfry dev team on a week. If whoever wants to do it, like take a day and just do a game jam. And we'll call it Untitled Podcast Game.
I
love that.
Photos on the model. It'll just be like these weeble wobbles, but we'll slap your pictures on the face.
That would be incredible.
I'm there.
I'm in.
Why not?
I'll take the week off.
You son of a bitch. I'm in.
Whose car are we taking?
That's good.
I'm going to rent a Buick. We'll head up there. I mean, listen, consider it done. You heard it here first, folks. Untitled podcast game coming soon. A lot of firsts. Every time.
A lot of firsts.
The people at the people at the PR firm are fucking just writing shit down like fuck. We gotta Perrin is over there.
Tom Cruise's height was broken tonight.
5'3". What a shame.
Never, literally, nobody knew about that before us.
I don't know. 5'3".
So I mean, get Tom Cruise in Ultimate Rivals. We need that. Ultimate Rivals, the picture. We get it in there.
It feels like it's felt like Mission Impossible a few times, so I relate to that.
I like that. I mean, listen, it's every time. I mean, it's. I feel like with Mission Impossible, though, I'm gonna flip this reference. I'm gonna flip this little metaphor on its head here. Every time I'm watching a Mission Impossible movie, I feel like they have one of those stunts or one of those like sequences where it unfolds way more different than you think it's gonna.
Yeah.
Like in Fallout, they do like the very first sequence, and it turns out it's like a simulation room or something like that. That blew my brain out of my skull.
That stuff.
I was like, "What? I was
Totally.
not ready for it. And so that I feel like Ultimate Rivals is doing that in a lot of ways, where it's like, okay, you think we might just be like doing a little arcade basketball game, like that's all fine and good, like that's cute, that's fun, but also we got rocket ships, like we got, you know,
Well, how many basketball games can you take a hockey player and freeze your opponent into ice and continue to run past them
That's what
and
I'm
shoot?
saying. How many of those games
One.
can you take a soccer player to a 3-point line and do a bicycle kick 3-pointer like into the? I mean, that's some
Right.
shit.
Yeah, it is.
Whoa. Hold on. Reg
Oh,
just redeemed Chris P. Spelling Bee. And Reg, I know you've been saving up those points, and I think you pulled the trigger on the best episode you could have.
Damn.
Ben, you got any like good spelling bee words for Chris?
Good spelling. I'm going to give you one in a second. Let me think on it.
Yeah,
I'll
think
come up
of
with
it.
Okay. And then Reg, next week on the other show, because this is not how we typically do the spelling bee. We typically have the person who requested it give us the words, but because you're here and because you were such a incredibly, gifted with your vocabulary,
I got
we're
it.
gonna let you do this, and then Reg will get you again next week. Okay. All right, we're ready.
Accoutrement.
Accoutrement?
Accoutrement.
Is it accoutrement?
Accoutrement.
Yes.
Accoutrement. Am I pronouncing it? Can you use it? Actually, no. Is that cheating?
You ever see
Accoutrement.
the scene in 40-Year-Old Virgin where he's like, you know, I got the paprika, I got the salt, the pepper, like all the accoutrement. That's that word.
Accoutrement. Yeah.
Okay, so one more time. Accoutrement.
I think in American dialect it would be accoutrement. Yeah.
It's fucking me all up. ACRUTIAMINT.
No.
No, you're way You know what? Good try.
Yeah, I'm not. Listen, I'm not laughing at that.
I mean, he said the word wasn't even in English, so I mean, I'm bilingual. I mean,
Accoutrement. Way to go.
crouton.
A crouton mint.
Hey, a little crouton mint. Hey, that's a good little. I gotta go to the patent office real quick. Pete goes, it's a solid B+ for effort. It's pretty good.
We'll take it.
It's pretty good. We rate
Above
you on
average.
effort. Yeah.
Reg goes, he can't even pronounce it.
Little accoutrement. I really wanted a chicken salad.
What does it mean,
sandwich.
though?
It's like the ingredients, like the stuff around it, like when they
Not the ingredients. It's like the
the accompanying.
like how you show off something around
It could
something.
be, it could be anything. It could be food or fashion. It could be,
The fixings, maybe.
that might be the more. Nah.
So say you get a nice Reuben sandwich, right? And you get it on a plate, and then they throw a little they throw a couple basil leaves next to it, and like a little cherry tomato. That's is the accoutrement.
Yeah, agreed.
Was that French?
Maybe.
So, I mean, if I nail that, then
I think it's mid 16th century French.
I mean, come on now.
Right now online. So.
All right. Well, we're coming up on the hour here, and I think it's about time that we get into a few voicemails. If you guys are down. So for those of you who don't know, 617-701-7678, the WGG Internet Dad sauce line. We record and listen to and react to voicemails every week. All you got to do is leave us a voicemail and we'll listen to it live on the show. It could be a topic suggestion. It could be a roast, a compliment, relationship advice, whatever you want. So 617-701-7678, the WGG Internet Dad sauce line. Here we go. First caller. What do you got?
What is up, WGG fam, founding fathers, and special guest Ben Freidlin? Happy Pod Day. Hope everyone's having a wonderful week so far. My question for you guys this week is, if you had a movie or even a video game featuring you, what kind of art style or animation style would you want it featured in? Much love as always, guys. Great pod as always. Peace.
All right. If you could
What
have
a great question.
a movie or a game what art style would you want it featured in? Ben, you're our guest. Why don't you take this one first?
I mean, who wouldn't want to be featured in like a Mario, like a Super Mario aesthetic? I don't know.
That's
childhood dream.
100%.
Put me in with some turtles flying around like turtle shells, and
hell yeah,
I'd go in there.
Hell yeah.
So I'll go more on like the movie route, I guess, because I've been watching a lot of Peaky Blinders recently, and I'm addicted to that show. It's phenomenal. I would want to be in like an old school like gangster mobster type movie. I feel like that'd be really cool, and I feel like I can like pull the accent off for it a little bit if I really forced it. I feel like I'd fit right in, just like because in every scene in all those movies, there's a heater in someone's mouth, literally in every scene. And I would rock that. I know how to smoke one of those, and like you would have to drink and like just be this like big goon. And I feel like I am a big goon, so I feel like I would nail that role.
Bert,
Truly.
So I'm gonna do one for each. I think for a movie, I like the visual aesthetics of pretty much any Quentin Tarantino movie. I feel like he just nails character design very well. But when it comes to games, I want a nice cell shaded. I want to throw me into a nice cell shading background. Don't over detail me because give me that blocky face, give me a big blocky beard, throw me in there to some nice cell shading.
I could see you like in Minecraft. It's not really cell shaded, but I could see you in Minecraft.
Minecraft Bob.
With like a big hammer, and I don't know.
I don't know if I should take that as a compliment.
Little ass legs, huge body.
One little block for the leg.
I don't give insults. It's a compliment.
All right, Dom. What do you want, Dom?
I would like to be featured. So as far as a game goes, so I'm not like the biggest GTA guy, but I want to have myself drawn as like a GTA loading screen. Like that art style. I think that's wicked cool, and like that art style is just always there's like just nothing like it. Like when you see like the NPCs or whoever like drawn in that like super like artistic, like really slick visual style on the loading screen, like that visual style for me is just so goddamn good. Like it just can't be beat. So like any sort of like a Rockstar game loading screen style. If I know any artists out there who want to do that, and you don't, I might pay for it. For a movie, for a picture,
for a
film, if you will. I think I should do like an animated picture. But I
can't relate.
Can't really. Let's see. Man, that's a tough one. I didn't really think about the movie one until I got here, so here we are. I'll give you.
Hold
draw
on.
me. Draw me in the 1990s cinematic classic Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. I want to be drawn in like the 90s Batman animated series visual style. That's where I want to be. So,
like the cartoon, like the one that was on at 2:30 in the afternoon, or do you mean like that one? Right?
Yeah,
that was phenomenal.
Yeah, there was like a straight to VHS movie, Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah.
Goddamn, fucking classic.
That was really good. The voice and everything, right? All the characters in that were amazing.
Hell yeah.
I want to be so bad. This literally just hit me. I want to be a character in a Studio Leica movie. The team that did Kubo and the Two Strings. Oh my god, that fucking so good.
I could see Dom like in like a cartoonish type way to like Jimmy Neutron maybe. I feel like Dom, no offense, Dom, you have a pretty big head, and I feel like when they do those like the drawings, they all have pretty big heads. Like Jimmy's head's huge. I feel like you'd crush it in that.
I mean, I could definitely also see Chris in like a Gumby type role, like claymation. He's just made out of a bunch of fucking pipe cleaners, but they're also just like cigarette butts that they just string together with pipe cleaners. Like I could really see Chris like crushing a role like that. All right, next voicemail.
What is up, guys? It is your faraway degenerate Ziggy here. We got the head chef Papa Dom looking ever so fly in that WGG Pro gaming journalist jersey right now. We got Chrissy P in not a black hoodie, and the hair's flopping in the wind, looking great. Dr. Bob looking like the final boss right now on his perfect setup. We got black and white Ben back again and hope your Thursday night's going well. And just a little hypothetical, let's say you can live out your childhood in any cartoon that you would desire. Which cartoon realm are you going to live? Personally, I'm a big Rocket Power fan. I'd love to play some Street Puck with Otto and Reggie and Twister and Squid. Shout out. I think it'd be great. Let me know what you guys think. Anyways, love you guys. Keep going. Peace.
Did you just shout them out after he said the characters' names?
I have no. I
think at the end he said shout out.
Yeah, I got lost in the last 15 seconds of that. But for me, it's a no-brainer. It's Pokemon. Next question.
Oh, that's a good one.
I mean, I'm going to have the best answer. I'll let you guys go first. Actually, I'm going to go before you guys steal it. I'm going to go with Fairly Odd Parents.
Okay.
Live my life out, Fairly Odd Parents. I have Fairly Odd Parents. I can just wish for whatever I want as long as it's not like a super toilet or anything like that. You can wish for anything you want.
Great.
I'm going to go with Hey Arnold. I feel like that show perfectly encapsulated my generation as a kid. Of just like, at the end of the day, we'll meet down at the lot, we'll play some fucking baseball, hang out,
Would you hang out with Stinky Peterson?
I mean, I feel like I wouldn't have a choice.
Yeah, Stinky Peterson's a good guy. Just misunderstood.
Yeah, definitely a little misunderstood.
I'm going to blow your mind with this one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Heathcliff. Remember that?
Oh, I do know that one.
The cat?
That's
Okay.
right.
There you go.
Yeah.
Love that.
Used to be on like Nickelodeon in the afternoon, right? Yeah.
Oh,
The Alley Cats, Yeah.
I gotta look this up.
see, that's a nice art. That's a nice art style too.
Love that.
Hand drawn.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
a clean. Ooh, that's clean.
I like that.
Great question,
Next,
Tiggy. Great energy.
Love that, as always. All right, here we go. Next voicemail.
Hey guys, it's me, C2D2. Just calling to say hi, and I have a really simple, kind of stupid question, but for some people it's like a do or die. If you had to do one type of coffee for the rest of your life, would you go hot or iced? And why? So, kind of a silly question, but I don't know. I'm feeling like iced coffee weather's almost here, and it's time to break it out. So, can't wait to hear what you think. Bye!
Ben, I want to hear you first. Hot or iced coffee for the rest of your life? What is it?
I'm going to go with hot.
Okay. You just always been a hot coffee guy, even in the dead of the summer?
Yeah, I mean, it's like coffee originated hot, right? So let's just stick to where it came from. It's hot.
Respect that.
You have an iced tea if you want a cool drink.
I respect that. Maybe a beer.
A Miller.
All right. I mean, perhaps just to name one at random. Absolutely.
That's just random. That's
yeah. So for me, it's cold brew. I mean, it's iced coffee. I can't like Fiona said, and thank you for the voicemail, Fiona. Iced coffee weather is almost here. It never left for me. It's a lifestyle. It's also a ritual for me because I got this nice like drum to make cold brew in, and I put the grinds in, and then there's this little like rainmaker that goes over it. And it sits there for like a day, and I don't know. That's just a part of my morning ritual now. So just cold brew, black, get it into my body as fast as I possibly can, so that I can function. And that's me, Chris.
First of all, we just got like the most ultimate New England comment in chat right now. You can't throw caramel and 18 packs of sugar in an iced tea. That's so true.
That's true.
While I love a nice cup of hot coffee, a nice chilly morning, you see the steam coming off it. It's phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. And I feel like I'd be taking the coward's way out by saying you could have it both ways and just let it cool off and yada, yada. But I got to go with iced. I really do. I feel like iced coffee, it's better for the day for me to bring it around. I catch myself, it's 5 degrees out, single digits outside. I just go get a large cold brew and I just take on the day. You feel your hair grow. I'm not saying you can't do that with like a nice espresso or cappuccino or something, but something about a nice cold brew just hits different year round.
Yeah, I also don't like to wait to ingest my caffeine. I'm just sitting there like blowing on my espresso like an asshole, just like, ugh, I need to wait until you're not going to kill me when I get you inside of me. But Bob, what do you got?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask if like you just say this is a hypothetical. You could just press a button and then you have whatever your preference is immediately. So is that the realm of possibility.
Earl Grey hot.
You have to.
Maybe.
You have to order. You have to order a hot or iced.
Nobody got that reference.
Earl Grey hot. I just knew it was a T. I didn't get the reference.
That's a Star Trek Next Generation Captain Picard. Earl Grey hot.
Shit. I'm more of a Star Wars guy. The Star Trek stuff goes over my head, but I will be better next time. I'll start watching Star Trek.
I mean, it's hard for me to choose because if I could just sit here and press a button and I just had a fucking espresso shot immediately instead of having to wait 45 minutes for a machine to soak up all of the energy in my house to create one, I would just press a button, have an immediate espresso shot, and go through about 8 of those a day. But if that is not a possibility, then yeah, of course I would have to go with iced. It's the simplicity of the coffee at that point. But I would much rather just drink 7 shots of espresso a day.
I start twitching after like the fourth one.
No, dude, I have the negative effect. I go to sleep after I drink caffeine.
I don't want to get all serious on you. I know this isn't a serious podcast.
I think that's not true.
Well, we take things very seriously.
Yeah, we're a capital J journalist.
I got it because we're in New England. I gotta say, my good friend Nori from Horseshoe Cafe in Newmarket, New Hampshire, who was twice Food and Wine listed for his coffee.
Ooh.
He will tell you that iced coffee is not a real thing. You got to have it hot. I want you guys to come up. Come up with we'll host you up there. We'll have you come up. We'll meet him and you can throw down with him.
I absolutely. I will personally petition for him to be delisted from those deplatformed.
No, he does cold brew. He does cold brew, but he doesn't like letting coffee sit around in the fridge all day. He thinks that's.
I hear you.
I'm willing. I'll bring my own sweet and low and caramel drizzle. I'll bring it with me.
Yeah, can I get a large French vanilla extra iced with a hot cup, please? And the guy's like, "Get the fuck out."
But your guy up there, they would be horrified at the way that people order coffee around there. Truly,
hang out outside of the Haymarket station in Boston,
dude. At like a nice coffee place, you walk in, right, or you go through the drive. Like, hi, I hope your day is going great. What can I get for you today? Up here, you walk up to the counter. They go, "What do you want?" You go, "Yeah, let me get a." And you just order it. There's no conversation. Okay. You don't say hi. You say, "Yeah, let me get a." That's the hello around there.
That's the preface. But no, I am open to a cultural exchange. An exchange of ideas, a meeting of the minds, if you will, with your preferred caffeine purveyor. So I'll go ahead and we'll come up there. That'll be a part of the weekend. We're making a whole weekend out of this. All right, last voicemail. Here we go. What do you got?
Yo, what is up, Founding Fathers? Skippable Cutscene here, catching you live for the first time. Hope y'all are having a really good week. Question that I want to drop for you. I was listening to some old episodes, and the first 10 or so, y'all talked about your favorite DLCs. My personal favorite is Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep from Borderlands 2. You basically play a big D&D campaign, and it's really awesome. I'm sure Dom will really appreciate that. But I want to know, what is the worst DLC you've ever played, the one that made you really wish you could get your money back? That's all I got for you guys. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend, and I will catch you later.
Skippable Cutscene, thank you for the VM, man, and thank you for listening to us live. We appreciate you. Whether or not you can listen to us live, we appreciate you nonetheless. But thank you for calling in. That's fucking awesome. All right, so worst DLC you've ever played. Chris, you go first.
You guys go first.
Okay, Bob, you go first.
First of all, that's a great question.
That is an excellent question. We've never had that one before. It's very rare that we get a really out there one like that, and that's a good one.
So I remember distinctly every time we talk about best DLCs ever, I always say Undead Nightmare from Red Dead Redemption 1. That will forever be one of the greatest DLC packs to ever come out in the history of gaming. So I have to follow suit with a Rockstar DLC that was GTA 4's The Lost and the Damned.
Yeah.
And it just ruined GTA 4. It put a gritty film overlay over the entire fucking screen and made everything look gross. And then they make you try to engage and want to like the characters involved but there's not enough personality to like anybody in that DLC. So they ruined the actual like look of the game with that DLC, but then they also brought it all the way back with the second one. What was it? Stories from the Ballad of Gay Tony, where they just made all the colors pop, everything was colorful, the story wasn't gritty, it was more loose and more fun to play through. But like, yeah, The Lost and the Damned was just, they took GTA 4 and then they just brought it back 2 steps for no reason. And it ruined that. It just left a sour taste in my mouth.
Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not a big DLC guy. I genuinely don't know what to go for. I was going to go with the GTA one, and I don't want it to be a cop out that Bob just said it.
Well, maybe
I don't buy DLCs.
Hey, maybe don't just shove it off on me, next time.
Well, I was hoping that you guys would like spark a little like inspiration.
I mean, you buy every fucking Call of Duty game, and those games are fueled on DLC. There's not a DLC pack that came out for those games that you didn't.
Well, all the DLC packs are the same. They just bring back old maps. That's the same thing every year.
Jesus Christ.
So I guess that like buying a DLC in Call of Duty before like they dropped the free ones that just brought back old maps that looked the same. They would just add an extra door to it or some shit. Sorry, shitty answer.
No, I'm sorry for calling on you first. Both of the first 2 DLCs for Destiny 2 were easily the worst fucking DLCs I've ever played because they had nothing to them. They were really fucking bad. They are like universally held as really goddamn bad DLC. And for non-playable DLC was the first DLC for Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, which gave you armor for your horse. It was horse armor DLC, and that fucking stunk. And we love the guys at Bethesda. I love you guys so much. They are very, very close friends of the program. But it is an unforgivable sin, that goddamn fucking horse armor DLC. It gave you like that stupid like elven gold armor for your horse, and it didn't do shit. And that's really goddamn bad. And you know what? I'm still mad about it. And it came out like 10 years ago. I'm just really mad that I spent money on that. But it's okay. It's okay. It can't hurt. The horse armor can't hurt me anymore. It's okay. Ben, worst downloadable content or expansion that you've ever played?
Well, I'm going to say, because we sort of have a lot of inspiration from fighting games. I mean, fighting games are as much an inspiration for us as sports games. I think the easy fatalities in Mortal Kombat 10, which basically dumbed the game down and made him, it's a high skill cap game for a reason.
Yep.
And paying to make that game easier, I think really was not the right way to go. And, that's just me. Maybe I'm a purist, but I think if you're going to make something hard, leave it hard and then offer easier ways to play the game for people who don't want that kind of challenge. Yeah. But you shouldn't ruin the game for people who are really good at it.
So what about, for example, an already hard game where the DLC makes it incredibly harder, but not at an enjoyable level, and just, for an example, Dark Souls 2, all 3 DLC packs.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say Dark Souls. Yeah.
Dark Souls 2, the 3 DLC packs, one of which was just a poison swamp or a poison ancient city where everything that was in there was trying to poison you. And then their last one, I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but it was all like one boss was invisible until you cleared like a certain checkpoint that you, unbeknownst to the player, didn't know how to do until you just stumbled upon it. And then you had to go through a blizzard for about 45 minutes with no direction, getting chased down by lightning unicorns just to fight that same invisible boss. But now there's 2 of them and they have regenerating health. So, yeah.
I mean, if people want to pay to be abused in the difficulty of the game, that's
there's hotlines you can call for that.
I mean, that's the game to do it, right? I mean, that's the franchise to do it. True. I don't know. I think we need more harder games. I was on a Clubhouse chat on game design a week or 2 ago, which, is a hit or miss. But I heard someone complaining about Dark Souls, actually, that it was lazy game design because it was so hard. And I thought, I don't know. It's the opposite. We have so many easy games in the market.
Yeah.
And we have so few challenging games. And they said there should be a sister mode that makes it easier. I'm like, that's like a whole other game. Isn't that like what God of War is? I mean, there's games out there that do that, and I think making people, having people buy harder levels, I think that's actually that's totally forgivable. It's up to them if they want that.
Right. So I mean, I've had this discussion on this show specifically 100 times about people complaining that, Sekiro wasn't being released with an easy mode. So, reviewers could get through the game at a quicker pace and actually, get through the content so they could experience the story. But like I say it every single time, if you're reviewing a game, you should be reviewing a genre or a game in that genre or a game in that franchise that you actively want to play, not just like to get through it to get a review up. And I hate the nature that is like, I understand the nature of let's make these games more accessible to everybody, but to an extent, you're then like taking away from the creative process where this game was designed to be difficult and it was designed to be borderline masochistic. And I love those types of games. I'm playing through a review copy for Neo 2 right now, and that game is borderline masochistic. Yeah. And it's, in my opinion, probably harder than any Dark Souls game I ever played. And I still enjoy it, but I would never in a million years ask for them to give me an easy mode. But in the case of Dark Souls 2, they just released like poorly designed, poorly thought out DLC packs that just arbitrarily made the game more difficult with poor game mechanics.
With no thought, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I get make it more difficult, but like put some thought into it next time.
Yeah.
Which they did in Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, I would also like to chalk up Battle for Azeroth as really bad DLC, because that was the worst expansion that came to a game that I've played for 15 years and invested a lot of time and money and feelings into. But yeah, no, I hear you. Speaking of masochism, I played that game willingly and purchased it. That was all we got for voicemails. 617-701-7678, the WGG Internet Dad Sauce Line. Leave a voicemail for next week, and maybe we'll respond to it live on the show. And by maybe, I mean pretty much definitely. So there we go. That's all we got for voicemails. So we are just going to roll right into the very end of the podcast. We are going to, everybody buckle your seatbelts, because we're about to start descending as we land the train. As you know, Ben, because you're a friend of the program, you have been on the show before. This is the segment where we do our shout outs. We plug whatever we want to plug, shout out whoever we want to shout out. You already shouted out your coffee guy, so feel free to plug them again. But the floor is yours, my friend. Go ahead and do your thing.
I'm gonna give a shout out to the team at BitFry who worked the last year making Ultimate Rapid support in every different discipline, from marketing, engineering, animation, VFX, sound effects, music, legal, business development, top to bottom operations. Best team in the world.
Hell yeah.
It would take a lot of studios, like I said earlier, 3 times as long and a lot more resources, and they would have come up with half of what we did. So shout out to them.
Love that.
Big shout out.
Yeah.
So where can, for those who are maybe new to Ultimate Rivals, where can they find it? Like, where can they find info on the game? Like, plug everything related to it. And where can they find you?
So we're obviously the Rink. Our NHL game is out on Apple Arcade. You will be able to play the court first on Apple Arcade. It will be there first for a limited amount of time. And then at some point thereafter, you will be able to play it on PC and console. And actually, our Steam page is up as of today for the first time ever.
Hey!
So I encourage you to go and add it to your wish list. That would be cool. It's a kind of new thing for us. We've never had that before. So we feel like we've turned a page. Go check that out.
Doing that right now.
And my Twitter account, because all the breaking news of anything out of this company will always come from my Twitter account before it comes anywhere else.
Unless it comes on the podcast for us, in which case...
Unless it comes,
unless it's from here. It's either here or Ben's Twitter, but one of two things.
Right. And I'll be back if I'm invited to break some news next time.
If you're invited.
You're always invited.
The door is always open.
Appreciate it.
I mean, who are we to say no? We're going to be in your video game. I mean, you're welcome to be on here, whatever you want.
Yeah.
You and maybe a famous skateboarder.
Potentially. Hey, we'll see.
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Who's to say? You know. I listen. We just got a really great compliment in the chat, which was Christmas Petrie just said, "I can't handle the handsomeness between these four men. Enjoy your night, boys." I haven't gotten a compliment like that in the chat in 5 years. Unbelievable.
And there was a compliment for Ben. Wiz said, "What a great guest tonight. Really enjoyed what he had to say." There you go, Ben.
Look at that. Absolutely. That's why, listen, we would not have invited Ben back if we didn't love his company, if he wasn't a card-carrying friend of the program. Not everybody gets those cards. We sent you the laminated ones. You get the you got the laminated, you know, it's
gold
nice.
Foil.
The gold foil. You know? Yeah. I'm just saying.
Gold leaf.
You know, the gold
it's an honor.
The gold leaf. We got like the ceremonial what are they? The fezzes with like the little tassel. You move the tassel to the left side if you've been on the podcast more than once. It's an honor. Right. You know, Chris, what do you have to shout out?
Shout out to Ben for coming on. Always a good time. Always great to chop it up. Looking forward to future of Ultimate Rivals. It's I can't wait to play it. I mean, after the trailer dropped today, I mean, I was all fired up.
It is amazing, right? It is amazing. Like, just be honest, like it's incredible.
Say
that.
Yes, it is. You can say that. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like. Sometimes trailers come out and I'm just like, oh, like whatever. But this one, I was like watching it. I was involved. And then at the end, that was like the first thing I like said to these guys after the fact. I was like, boom, shakalaka. It caught me. I was like, whoa, like, okay, like this is good. But yeah, shout out to Ben for coming on. And if you want to shut up for me, please leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. It really helps us within the rankings. Leave a question, comment, whatever. Happy to read it out loud. Just if you do enjoy the show, 5-star review on iTunes really helps us.
Bert.
I got nothing on the YouTubes this week, but of course, shout out to Ben. It's always a pleasure having you on. And of course, you don't even have to ask. Okay, door's always open. You just say, hey, we get some news coming up. You guys want to have me on? We can talk about it. Of course, door's always open.
You can even say, listen, I don't have any news. I just want to talk about
that too.
I just want to talk about pictures.
Pictures.
I want to talk about
a new picture.
I saw a new film. I'd love to break it down. We could talk about hot coffee. We could do anything. We could do, come on whenever, So,
I got one more. Hold on, I'm not done. I got one more. Jesus. Whoa, hold on.
Oh!
Also, shout out to the Juicebox Podcast boys. I think I'm going to be jumping on their show tomorrow night. They're not recording anything live, or they don't live stream anything yet. So stay tuned next week for, I believe it should be next week, for the next episode of the Juicebox Podcast, in which I should be guesting on.
Hey. And as for me, big shout out to Ben, obviously. Big shout out to the whole Ultimate Rivals team, everybody over at BitFry. Can't wait to meet everybody when we come up there.
Co-workers, I mean, we have to meet the team.
Yeah. By proxy, you are all friends of the program as well. Just like it, but it's like 1A 1B, you know what I mean? Like until you come on the show yourself, we can't give you full FOTP status. But we'll give
How
you
about
like
this? I got an idea. Why don't we bring one of our our lead designer on next time?
Let's do it.
Down.
Bring that could be cool, right? Like, have a team member on.
Hell yeah.
If you're
fucking
willing, yeah.
Hell yeah. We need that. Hell yeah, fucking right. So big shout out to the whole BitFry team. We can't wait to talk more about the game. Cannot wait to play Ultimate Rivals The Court. Go wish list Ultimate Rivals The Court on Steam, because it's coming to Steam real soon. But it's going to be debuting on Apple Arcade. But we don't have an official date yet, right?
Not yet.
We're thinking like Q3.
We'd rather not.
Q2.
Yeah, we wait till we really know. But it's close. We're closing in. We're closing in.
We'll close.
But I think it was I forget who said it. Like, nobody remembers a game that's late, but they remember a game that was bad, right?
Yeah.
True.
I mean,
it's Miyamoto. I think Mario.
That's exactly it. And we've said it a million times. Like, leave it in the oven. If it needs to stay in the oven, leave it in there. That's fine. Leave it in the oven until it's done. We want to get that full experience. Listen, if it's late or if it's like this is taking a little bit longer, whatever. Exactly. I want to see that shit golden brown. On the top. Ooh.
Well, we can't forget to shout out our next coworker. Shout out to Tony Hawk, who we'll be working with again
Shout out to
in an upcoming Ultimate Rivals game.
Big fan of Tony. Great guy. Do a kickflip. Yep. Good guy.
Do a kickflip. Chris, do you have anything else to read for us?
Anything else to read?
Yeah. Have you paid attention to the chat at all for the entirety of the podcast? Go get the mail that you got.
Oh shit. Hold on.
God damn it. You know, kids got one job. BCK says, when is the WGG sponsored suit party? We're gonna do a black tie event for the next PAX. Heard Warren Buffett is a co-worker of Wicked Good Games. Cannot confirm or deny.
We did sell out an entire after party for the first ever after party we threw at a PAX.
That's a fact.
So,
Dom, do you feel like Chris's father at times? Yeah, I do. 100% I do. I 100% do. Let's see. What are some other comments we're getting? Nora, we have not forgotten you. No. Oh shit. Chris's Valentine got revoked. Chris, I revoked your Valentine. Oh, that's tough. Did you get him? Chris is so
I've acquired. Yeah, no. I had to open the thing. I have no fingernails because I still bite them like an absolute savage, so I couldn't get it open. The note says, and this comes from Aurora Nora, who sent us some great stickers that I will give you guys when I see you. Hi, guys. I know I've said it a million times, but I really appreciate the community y'all have created and letting me be a part of it. I feel very understood and respected by WGG and the squad. I'd love some help branching out on games. Here's some stickers. Put them wherever Chris can reach them. Heart, Nora.
So first of all, thank you, Nora, for sending the stickers.
Thank you so much.
Secondly, mistake number 1, sending the letter to Chris to read.
I was going to say the same thing, sending it to the most literate one of us, Chris.
I stumbled on somewhere. She has nice handwriting, too. I'm just dumb. But thank you, Nora.
Wow. I cannot wait to get my sticker. How many stickers are there?
A lot.
Yes.
Oh, that means I got one going on the Hydro Flask, and then I got one going on the record player.
That's it. I got stickers. I got 2 laptops to cover and a water bottle, so I'm stoked. Let's go. Thank you so much, Nora. We appreciate you. And we appreciate all of you that have been listening to the show. This has been episode 222 of Not Another Gaming Podcast. Come join us again next week, won't you? We're on all your favorite podcast platforms, even some that you probably haven't heard of. And we record live every week, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, every Thursday on twitch.tv/wickedgoodgaming. We are Wicked Good Gaming. We are Not Another Gaming Podcast. Ben Freidlin has been joining us once again. Bitfry Games, Ultimate Rivals the Court. Go wishlist it, go pre-order it, go do everything. Go subscribe to Apple Arcade so you can play it as soon as it drops at an undisclosed time yet in the future. And go watch the trailer. Go run it up. I want to see 6 million views on the trailer by midnight. This has been Not Another Gaming Podcast, episode 222. We love you so much, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.